What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Taurasi. She just recently made a comment that I think really just rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Uh, and she was on I think they're doing a documentary, right? And so, in order um, to promote the documentary, I guess they showed like a preview of the documentary where she explained her feelings about having to go overseas in Russia and play in Russia. She felt like she had some resentment about that. Having to go play in Russia in order to make money, and then she said that she made more money in Russia than she did playing in the WNBA right here in the United States. And so that wasn't bad. Up until she made her last comment, people was like vibing with her and understood, like where she was coming from. Then she made a statement about she finished off and said that, she made more money over Russia. Then she said everybody was making more money than the WNBA players, including the freaking janitors, right? And so when she made that statement, I heard her say, including the freaking janitors. And I was like, that's not going that's not going to come off that's not going to go across too well, right? And sure enough, she caught a lot of backlash for it, right? And that just leads me to think, like, with these WNBA players, like, why don't some of these women understand, like, they have to be like not just careful with what they say, but how they say it, right? And because Donna Taurasi is not the only WNBA player who have in recent months, just really just put their foot in their mouth. You had what was it, Kelsey Plum? She had a couple incidents, when she told a fan that he was weirding her out. Who else said some stuff? Sometimes what's the other young lady? Asia Wilson, she might say something that just don't come across well. And I'm thinking for these women to be like professional athletes, seasoned pros, like, do they have like some type of media training for these women, so they can understand and know how to answer the questions in a way that is more politically correct and a way that just won't rub like your fan base the wrong way? Because I'm sure that some of the people that supported Donna Taurasi throughout her career, some people may have been janitors, or may have even worked in some of those arenas where she played at. And I think that some of their fan base, they kind of turn off some of their fan base when they make these kind of statements. And like I said, most people who support them probably are like, like ordinary everyday people. But when she makes these kind of statements, and the same thing with, not like I said, not just down to Taurasi, but when they make these kind of statements, like the freaking janitors, was making more than me. I was a janitor for a while, you know what I mean? And it's like it's honest work, nothing wrong with being a janitor. But when she put it like that, it just don't come across too good. And it makes these WNBA players, like, it's hard to be sympathetic with them and hard to kind of take their side when, the people who, like I said, the people who will more likely to be able to take their side and be sympathetic to their cause are the ones who catch the brunt of some of the negative comments that they make. And so my question is, like, why don't these young ladies, they really need to be media trained and be like more media savvy. I've been making the same statement about, because they're going through this situation where there might possibly be a strike or a walkout, right? Or a lockout. And you have so many different WNBA players just making too many public statements, and it's making them look like some of the statements they make are not really uh don't really help them out as far as like their position for wanting more money in the collective bargaining agreement. And so it just makes them look like I said, it just eats away at their public. At least they could have the public on their side. But when they say stuff and they're not on the same sheet, then it's easy for the owners and the league to make them look like they're a bunch of women who have a bunch of gripes and complaints. And so this right here is another example. The statement that Donna Taurasi made, about janitors and stuff like that. Now, if you ask me, Donna Taurasi, in my opinion, is like one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. I think, in my opinion, I think it's probably Cynthia Cooper, Donna Taurasi, and probably Maya Moore. I would put Maya Moore in there. Like those are my favorite. Cynthia Cooper, Donna Taurasi, and probably Maya Moore. But and there's probably a few other great ones, that I've seen over the years. But those three are the ones who really, in my opinion, were the best. But these women do not do themselves any favor, when they make statements like this. And now, like I said, Donna Taurasi is catching a lot of flack for these statements that she said about janitors. And they really do just need media training. When it comes to the collective bargaining thing, I think although these women have everybody is entitled to their opinion, but they have to be all on the same they have to at least appear to be all on the same sheet. But that's not the case. You have some women, saying we going on strike, we definitely going on strike, we feel disrespected. Then you'll have somebody else taking a more cautious approach, more of a wait and see, let's see what the how the owners respond to our demands. But they just really to me, I think they don't really do themselves any favors. I hear some people even say that like the WNBA is the most disliked, and I want everybody's opinion on this. Like this is the most disliked women's sports league by far. I've heard a couple people say that, and I was thinking of different, like what sport. I think what sport probably gets the most pushback, and number one, I think it's the WNBA because you have so many women in there that are so like outspoken and stuff like that. I think women's USA women's soccer team. I think you have a couple women on there who are really outspoken, but they don't get a lot of pushback because the soccer team and the women from the soccer team are not as really in the public as much as the WNBA, in my opinion. At least I don't follow them like that. But the WNBA, by far, I think I would have to agree with anybody who says that the WNBA is the most disliked women's sports league. And it's not it's and the only reason for that, in my opinion, is because they make comments that just really just turn their fan base off and really just push their fan base away. A lot of times they are entitled. Some of the statements you just make it seem like they are entitled and like they deserve more than what they get. In which a lot of people might feel like they deserve more than what they get in life, but at least you have to be able to or willing to put in the work to get it, and kind of be more politically correct when you want to go at it, when you want to go after things that you want. But these women don't do that. They just come on to these different shows. And in Donna Taurasi case, this what is it? This documentary. And they just say things like what she said about, like even the friggin' janitor makes more money than me. Which I don't know, man. I don't know if that's true or not, but it just comes off as entitled. And I can understand like her frustration with having to go overseas and play basketball when you want to stay home in front of your friends and your family, and play basketball, but the statement just didn't come off it don't go across too well. And Donna Taurasi is taking more flat for that statement that she made. So my question to you all is what do you think about it? Do you think she made this statement out of frustration? Do you think she's justified in feeling the way she feel? Or do you think that Donna Taurasi needs, like a lot of other women, WNBA players need media training? And so yeah, those are my questions. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I will check you all out in the next episode. Peace.